Hi, I'm Gretchen, and in this video I'm going to demonstrate to you a ripcord cast on. So a ripcord cast on is a useful cast on when you're casting on with a yarn that is difficult to work. Maybe it breaks or splits. It's a fancy yarn or a cotton yarn, something like that. So as you can see here, I've got myself set up. I went ahead and did a waste yarn cast on, and then I knit about 9 rows. You can see I left my carriage on the left. You'll see why in just a second. Anyway, I just went on ahead with my waste yarn, like I said, knit 9 rows. Now what I'm going to do is take my ripcord. Now my ripcord came with my machine. It's a nylon cord. If you don't have one, you can use something like a strong cotton yarn or something that isn't going to break easily. Having something slippery like this is the best. Anyway, I'm going to go ahead. I have it weighted on one end. I'm going to go ahead and put it in my machine. I'm going to set my tension all the way up so that it's easier to rip out, and then I'm going to just knit 1 row across. So now you can see I have my original work cast on, I have my ripcord cast on. I can go ahead and take that out of my machine and reset my tension to whatever I want to work with, and now I'm going to go ahead and use my main yarn. So in this case, this is a yarn that I could easily cast on. However, a yarn that I can't isn't very easy to see on video. So what I'm going to do is take the yarn that I want to use, that I want to cast on with. I'm going to push all my needles forward. You can see my ripcord cast on is hanging on here. And now I'm just going to go ahead and E-wrap cast on. And please see my video on how to E-wrap cast on if you don't know. You can see why I don't have too many needles selected here. Especially because it's hard to do with the camera in the way. So one advantage to this cast on, as you will soon be able to tell, is that my work is already weighted when I go ahead and do this. So sometimes thinner yarns or cotton yarns or whatever might really struggle with the weighting issue, and this will help you prevent that. So at any rate, I've gotten my E-wrap cast on done. I push it back on my needle so it doesn't get too hung up when I work it. And now I'm just going to go ahead and take my carriage, as you can see, and knit. In that first row it might struggle with a little bit, but then as you keep working, it should do just fine, and that should help you prevent all the problems associated with casting on a thinner weight yarn. And then the final step, when you're ready, and I suggest leaving your waste yarn cast on as long as it possibly suits you because it's nice and weighted and ready to go. And I always find that once you weight your work, the more you weight your work, the harder it becomes to do so every time, especially when you have that nice ugly weaving or comb cast on to begin with. Anyway, you can go ahead and take that all out, and when you're ready, you can just grab one end of your ripcord. Obviously that gets more difficult the longer your cast on is, but and if you have a really long one and you're worried you won't be able to get your ripcord out at all, I wouldn't use your actual ripcord, and you can always just use a cotton yarn or whatever and just clip it as you go. Anyway, you can just pull it. You see how it's pulling those needles forward and pulling the stitches together a bit. And you can see this is not always easy work. Yank it. The waste cast on comes right off, and then you can just re-weight your work and keep going, and you have that beautiful E-wrap cast on that you started with.